Hey guys, what's up? Today I wanted to make a video kind of explaining how I rate books the way that I do. If you guys are watching my videos, especially if you're watching my reviews or watching my channel for recommendations, it might be important to know why I rate things the way I do and if my ratings align with yours, which they don't have to line up perfectly. So let me try to explain my rating system. I rate based on a 5-star system. I've been doing that ever since I joined GOODREADS, and I just find that the 5-star system is pretty universal, pretty well understood. It's just enough options for me to find a good fit for a book. I do sometimes use half stars when it just doesn't quite fit between like a 3 or a 4-star, but I find that a 10-star system or a percentage scale from 0 to 100, that's just too wide of a range, just too many options for me. So 5 stars is what works best for me. And my definition of those stars pretty much is exactly how GOODREADS describes it. 5 stars means I loved this book, it's a new favorite. 4 stars means I really liked this book. 3 stars means I liked it, it was okay. Didn't love it, but I didn't dislike it enough to ever want to stop reading. 2 stars means this book was okay, but I wanted to put it down a few times. And 1 star means I did not like that book at all. In the years that I've been using GOODREADS, my average star rating is a 3.7. So that is above the mid-range. So I do rate a bit high. And the reason I do rate so highly is because I've gotten really great at discerning what books I'm gonna like. So if I know from the summary or for recommendations that I'm not really gonna enjoy the subject matter of this book, chances are I'm not picking it up. So just by default, if I picked a book up at all, chances are I'm going to enjoy it. That's why most of my ratings are 3 stars and up. But you know, every once in a while a book just totally misses the target for me and I do rate them low. If I don't like a book, I'm definitely gonna let you know why I didn't like it, and I think it's important to tell you guys the why, because just because I gave a book 1 star or 2 stars does not mean that I think you guys should feel the same way about it, because I definitely experience this a lot in real life with one of my best friends. A lot of times we butt heads on books. She will absolutely love something and I will come along and just not enjoy it at all. It completely wasn't for me, but I can recognize that it wasn't for me, but there are plenty of reasons why other people might like it. So with all of my ratings, take it with a grain of salt, of course. I think that ratings actually are not as important as reviews, because reviews are going to tell you more about why that specific person did not or did enjoy a book. And I don't think there is any universal way to review or to rate a book, because if there was one way to do it, there would be no need for this whole book community. The first person who ever reads and reviews that book, they're gonna have it right, because if we all use the one scale, there's only one way of doing it, and then what's the point of anybody else ever reviewing books, or for that matter even reading them really? I very much do rate more based on my emotional feelings about the book instead of a more critical, analytical viewpoint, because I don't feel comfortable or confident in really picking apart and analyzing books. I don't have any kind of degree in literature or English, so I don't know the exact structures and ways to critique books. That's not why I read. I read to enjoy a book. So my rating is going to be based on how much I enjoyed it. And oftentimes I can find a flaw in any book I ever read. And that does not mean that I cannot overlook the flaw and still really enjoy the story. So most of the time I'm rating based on just my sheer enjoyment. Did I like the story? Did I like the characters? Did I like what happened? In any review I do, be it here or on GOODREADS, I'm going to mention what I both liked and did not like about a book. So maybe I can tell you several things that really missed the mark for me, but it may not actually influence my overall star rating. So that's why I think reviews are a little bit more important for actually hearing why a person rated a book that way, and even though it may be a 5-star book, it may not actually be perfect. Also, I wanted to mention that I don't compare books to each other when I'm rating them. So for instance, the Harry Potter series is on my all-time favorites. That series overall is a 5-star series for me, but that does not mean that every single fantasy book I pick up for the rest of my life, I'm not going to compare it to this golden standard of what a 5-star rating Harry Potter book was to me. So even though this book may not be as great as Harry Potter was, if I still really enjoyed it and really got excited about it and it just worked for me, it can still be 5 stars. I don't necessarily think for me that it's fair for me to be rating books competitively, because I don't remember exactly how I felt 10 or 15 years ago when I finished that Harry Potter book. Did my thoughts back then align exactly with my thoughts now on this new book? I don't know. So much time has passed, I don't feel confident comparing books like that. The only time I do compare books to each other are when they are within the same series. Whatever my rating was for the first book, usually I just rate the rest of the books compared to that first rating. So book 1 was a 4-star read to me because I enjoyed it at the time that I read it, and so when I read the rest of the series I would think, oh, I don't like this book as much as that one, so I'm gonna maybe give it 3 stars instead. Or yeah, I liked this book a little bit more than that last one, so I'm gonna give it a higher rating. So within series I do kind of compare them to each other, and that's more of a marker of within a series which were my favorites and which were my least favorites. But that doesn't mean that a book in this YA contemporary series that I gave 4 stars to is actually going to be the same quality as something like Gone Girl, which I think I gave 4 stars, which was a very twisty adult mystery. Usually when I'm picking a book up, I already know for whatever reason that I'm going to like it, that I'm interested in the book. So I usually just start the book at kind of like a 3-star point in my mind, and then as I read, if it does things right that I'm really enjoying, that rating kind of bumps up to 4 stars or 5 stars, and then if it does something that I just really can't stand, it's going to knock it back down a little bit. So that's kind of how I arrive at my ratings. It definitely is not a set in stone scale, and I know that that might cause some confusion. I'm sure that that's not how everybody goes about rating books, and that's okay. I don't think that there is a certain right or wrong way to do it. I just wanted to explain kind of what my process is. I just think it's important to know how a reviewer reviews books. If you know that your feelings and their feelings about the same book align perfectly, you probably know that you can trust kind of their recommendations. And on the flip side, if I've rated a book 1 star that you absolutely love, you might also know the next time I rate a book 1 star, if it's for the same reasons, that's a really great indicator that you might actually love it and might want to pick it up. At least that's how I approach it with the reviewers that I follow. Sometimes just getting to know how they rate books, I know that on this certain genre we feel completely oppositely, so I'm not going to want to listen to those types of recommendations from them, and other times we feel exactly the same way about different genres or different authors, so those are just what I would take more to heart. Woo! I hope that made sense. I know this could be a lengthy discussion, but if you have a certain way that you review that you would like to discuss down below, let me know what it is. I hope that this has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Bye!